Hi everyone, today we're talking about the free stocks I'm buying in May 2019. And this is normally like the most popular series that I do on the channel. Everyone kind of checks in to see which stocks I'm buying in the month. And I really do enjoy making these videos. And basically I just talk about the free stocks that I'm more than likely going to buy into May. These are the three big contenders at the start of the month that I probably will buy into. And some stocks are brand new, sometimes the stocks that I already own, but I'm talking about adding shares into them. But yeah, it's a really popular video that always as well on my channel is talking about this, and so I'm talking about the three stocks that I'm more than likely going to buy in May 2019. And as always guys, I'm kind of looking at like a 1 to 5 years kind of hold point of view. It's all about long-term investing on this channel, and that's what I'm looking at is 1 to 5 years hold. You know, potentially if the stock gains absolutely massive in 6 months, then I might sell it before a year's up, like I have done actually yesterday with a stock that I'll talk about on the channel in like a few days' time. But sometimes I will sell them before that. But yeah, it's kind of like a 1 to 5 years hold kind of thing. Normally, a lot of stocks don't end up going 5 years, but there's potential with a few of them. But and also one point that I'm also going to make before I actually talk about the stocks that I'm buying is that I think right now the stock market in general is kind of at a fair value right now. I think that when we look back into like November, December, January, we had a lot of stocks were undervalued massively, and that's when I was investing absolutely heavy and I bought loads of stocks. And I kind of look at the stock market now; it's gone up quite a bit quite quickly. And I think you look around a lot of stocks are starting to get back to them 52-week highs. Not all of them, but quite a lot are. Some sectors are kind of behind, but when we look at the stock market in general, the kind of the main companies that we normally talk about every day, and they're getting towards the 52-week high again. So that kind of says that, you know, I don't normally enter companies at 52-week highs. So that's something that I've also got to take into consideration when I'm kind of investing into stocks right now. So my first stock that I'm buying in May 2019, I will hopefully will be adding a lot more shares into Microsoft position. Now I've held Microsoft for a very long time, and I have no plans to sell the stock at all. I kind of just want to keep adding into that position as much as I can because Microsoft for me is the best stock on the stock market, and I'd just love to add more and more shares into that. Obviously it's sitting at quite a high 52-week high right now. It's pretty much at the top right now. It's just set a new 52-week high, pushing into the 120 range. And I've actually just done a video why I think Microsoft will go to 150 in the next 12 months on the channel like 3 days ago. So if you want to see more Microsoft, check that video out. But Microsoft for me is just absolutely amazing company. The growth is so good, but when we look at the PE, like when we look at a lot of growth companies, their PE tends to be towards like 40, 50, 60. Even more than that, you know, when you look at like Netflix, for example. But for Microsoft, their growth is really good, and they're still sitting at quite a normal PE, really. Because of how much they're improving the EPS share as well. And the PE is sitting quite low, and yeah, for me, you know, Adobe, you look at their PE right now, that's towards like the 50 range. Microsoft is still down at the 30 range, so it's not even slightly undervalued for me. Overvalued for me, sorry. Right now, you know, if this stock does drop 10%, 20%, I would definitely absolutely put in loads of money into this company and buying even more shares than what I already have. It also has a 10% EPS and revenue growth still, which is absolutely amazing. You like I say, you know, not many growth companies are at this P right now that Microsoft is, and for the brand you get. Such a diverse company. You know, we've got the cloud going on, we've got the 365 going on. The gaming, I think there's going to be probably a new cycle of consoles coming out soon. So that gaming side of it will jump, and that's still growing at 30% right now. But when new gaming console comes out, that's also going to push revenues up, and that's coming in the next year, 2 years, so that's really going to help as well. There's also other things they're so diverse, I could have had a long list going off the whiteboard here, but like LinkedIn, you know, that's growing absolutely massive, but Microsoft overall is so diverse with that revenue growth. It's really good. And because what I love about Microsoft is you can invest money in it, and the share price will go up on this company. And also, it's probably the only growth company that I know that plays like such a strong dividend as what Microsoft does. With a lot of companies, you either get strong dividends and hardly like any revenue growth, or you get loads of revenue growth and they don't pay dividends. With Microsoft, you get both. You get a really decent dividend, really, that is keeps going up at such a healthy rate right now. And also, you're gonna get your money back from that share price going up as well. So, like for me, if I could basically say like, you know, what's your ideal stock? What is what is the perfect stock, and like Microsoft for me, I just point to Microsoft every time because there's not one thing that I could complain about Microsoft right now. It's just like just a phenomenal company, and I'll just keep adding so many shares into Microsoft. So my number 2 stock for the 3 stocks I buy in May 2019 is Alibaba. Now I've been recently talking about Alibaba a little bit more on the channel every so often. And that's because I've said that I've wanted to get into this stock again sometime soon, and hopefully it's going to be sometime this month. There's a lot of reasons why I want to invest into Alibaba, but I'm trying to squeeze it down into quite a short time so it doesn't get boring. But Alibaba for me is a great company. I've always said that it's one of my favourite Chinese companies. JD.com I'm already invested in, and I'd like to get back into Alibaba too. A few reasons why, and now is really a perfect time for that, is because it's still in between its 52-week range. So that's where in the last kind of year, like the bottom and the highest point it's in the middle right now. So it's come off the lows, but it's still a little bit of a discount as well, which is really good. It's just pretty much somewhere in between the middle right now. So you're still getting that discount if you were to invest into Alibaba. So that's something really good. And also I believe, even with it at 180 right now, I believe this stock should be like a $250 a share stock. So for me, even if it got to its 52-week high, which was about, like 220-ish, I think it is, even if it got back up today, I believe it should be higher than that. And it was only brought down last year because of all the economic trouble that was going on, and they're trying to kind of like slow down. The forward P, once again, when we talk about a company like Alibaba that's growing at like a 40% revenue rate right now, it's very common for companies like Alibaba that trade at a very high P, like Netflix do. They trade at a forward P of somewhere around 70, I think it is. And Alibaba's growing at a 40% revenue, and their forward P is down at 30, which is shows you how like this company is a growth stock that's not a very high P, which is always kind of like where I want to get in. Into a growth company like that. Once again, a very diverse company. It's in a lot of segments. I like a company that is very diverse, because then if something bad happens with one of the products, the whole company doesn't go, oh crap, we're screwed, With Alibaba, it's so diverse. If one thing went wrong, it was like, oh, it's alright, we've got all these other things that are still growing for us right now. Like when you look at Apple and iPhones slowing down, everyone's going, oh, should you buy Apple now, or what have you. Whereas, a company, if Microsoft has, or Alibaba has like one sector that doesn't grow that much, everything else is still okay because of everything else growing. So that's a really good thing overall. The trade deal being done, it kind of looks like the trade deal's kind of nearly done now, which is good. I don't think that'll help the stock go up anymore, because I think the trade deal's kind of been priced in, really. But at the same time, if there was no trade deal and it came out, oh, actually there's no trade deal, then I believe Alibaba would have got hurt massively. And I've kind of been waiting for confirmation that trade deal's done, so I can buy shares in it, because if not, I feel like the stock could have gone down a little bit. So I've kind of covered myself there. I hope. We'll see what happens. Buys companies. I love a company that loves buying other companies to increase its revenue. Alibaba does that huge. It just invests like stakes in companies. And then if they do well, they have like a percentage in that company that they invested into. Like I know Alibaba, like 2-3 months ago, just invested into like a movie platform, and because of that, it kind of covers that sector that they're kind of getting into. But by investing in all these small little companies, though, it really helps push that revenue up in the long term. It's investing so aggressively right now that Amazon used to do that, and it paid off for them, and Alibaba's just doing exactly the same thing. So I think it should work out, and I'm a big fan. So yeah, Alibaba is a company that I'm very strongly looking to invest into sometime really soon. So we'll see. There could be a video about Alibaba coming out this week or next week about me buying shares in the company. So keep your eyes open for that one. And the last stock that I might buy in May 2019 is a stock I made a video about only last week, and it actually did really well. Is Tesla, and I might buy shares into Tesla for the first time in this month. I'm just kind of seeing what's happening over like the next week, 2 weeks, and I'll take it from there. Then potentially might buy a few shares in Tesla. But I've been looking into the company quite a bit recently, and it is definitely getting my attention more and more right now. And the big thing that really pushed this off is that kind of like 2 weeks ago, I was watching a documentary on TV. And it was on about the planet and how much, pollution there is, and how much, we need things to change, and one of them big things is kind of switching to the electric cars, and you know, I was kind of thinking, well, Tesla are the massive players in that. And Tesla are so far advanced in like the electric car industry right now, the number one players for sure. And the cars are actually very good quality. You know, the Model 3 is, I think, is a beautiful car, and Tesla are the number one players, and that was the first thing. Like the potential that is in that sector right now, and how quick electric cars can take in market share right now is absolutely huge. And to invest in the number one player in that sector is obviously a sensible thing to do. And the revenues are still growing really healthy going forward. And that was the first thing that really pushed me, is like there's a demand there, and whenever a demand is there and you are able to fill the demand, you have a successful company. And if Tesla do that right, you know, they should really, over the next kind of 1 to 5 years, should increase their share price going forward. So that's a big thing. The big thing that kind of turned me from being like a little bit like unsure of Tesla to more confident now is that they're going to be, they have started making profit on quarters, apart from the last one obviously. But all through the year, through this year, this should be the first profitable year for Tesla. If it isn't, then they'll probably be next year for sure. But they can at that point now where I don't like investing in companies that don't make profit, unless it's at a really low share price, and I look at the kind of like growth and go, you know, it's only going to take them 2 years or 3 years, and they're going to be massively into profit. Then that's the only thing that will push me. Like Square, when they first came on like the stock market, I was like, this company has massive potential. But for me, Tesla, that's a great sign that it's kind of crossed that like threshold that they're going to start making profit more often. The models are that for me. The models are a big, massive different right now, because I feel like there's a good variety of models out or coming out. You know, the truck is going to be a massive game changer if they can do that right, for sure. You know, the Model 3 I think's a phenomenal car, one of the best cars that are currently out right now. You know, I at some point, hopefully, I'm able to afford a Model 3. It's kind of like the next car that I am looking at owning. So you know, I think it's a good car, and the options they'll have out, and the variety of models they'll have of that, and of the Model 3 and other cars, should be something good. Like, you know, you got the Roadster, that's like the supercar market covered right there. So it's kind of like, you know, developing into a really strong company. The China factory is well on its way. That's going to help push profits when they can make cars in China. I thought they would struggle to do that as quick as they said they would, but I've looked at the progress of that, and it's honestly, it's phenomenal. Like how quick they can build stuff in China is scary. Like they can build a whole factory in a year, and it takes a roundabout to get built down the road from my house. It's taken that 2 years, and they built a whole factory in that time. Like they could have built 2 factories in the time they built this one roundabout near me, and it's bonkers. So that's really good. And I also like companies that hit 52-week lows. I know it's a little bit like catching a falling knife, but I'm quite brave with my investing. And when a company hits the 52-week low, for me that hits the like buying sign. When it hits 52-week highs, that's when I go, maybe I should sell. So I kind of like do the opposite to what everyone else is doing, and that's always what I've done. Whenever, you know, there's always that you know, big saying that, you know, when people are being fearful, that's when to be greedy, and I'm massively on that. It's why I don't like buying stocks at 52-week highs. I like getting them on discount, and Tesla for me, it's a support level now. There's risk of it breaking through that support level, and that's why I'm holding off for, because I do, even though I'm a long-term holder of stocks, I do like looking at technical things that are going on with that stock. And Tesla is pushing its resistant level, and if it did fall through that support area, if it does fall through the support area, then it could be slightly worrying for Tesla, because it could then end up being like a falling knife, and you just don't know when it's going to stop next. But if it holds on to that support area and I see that bounce, then I'll be in there and buying that stock. So you know, it's always good if you're a long-term investor just to learn a couple of like day trader technical things, so you help kind of pick the bottom of that stock. And that's what I'm waiting for on Tesla, and that's why I've not bought any just yet, but there's a chance I will in May. So guys, those are the 3 stocks I'm buying May 2019. One of the longest videos I've made for a while, so if you managed to watch it all the way through the video, so thank you for that, and well done. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. As always guys, give it a like, subscribe. Thank you all for all support recently. We're near 230 subscribers, which is amazing, so thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.